नमस्ते, प्रणाम। गीता ध्यानम्। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। O Bhagavad Gita, with which Lord Narayana himself gave enlightenment to Arjuna, the ancient sage Vyasa included it in the Mahabharata. O Goddess, showerer of the nectar-like knowledge of non-dualism contained in your 18 chapters, O my affectionate mother, the destroyer of rebirth, I meditate upon thee. Krishna Uttara. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Son of Vasudeva, the slayer of Kansa and Chanur, extreme delight for Mother Devaki, O Lord Krishna, the supreme teacher of the universe, my salutations to you. And today we take up reading of the third shloka of the sixth adhyaya, Dhyana Yoga of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. The yoga of dhyana, meditation, contemplation. And Sri Krishna in the second shloka had told us that Yam sannyasam iti prahuhu yogam tvam vidhi Pandava. O Pandava, know for sure that is the yoga which is called sannyasa. Sannyasa yoga Sri Krishna had taught us in the fifth adhyaya. So Sri Krishna says, know that to be yoga. Know that to be the ultimate meditation which is called sannyasa. Na yah sannyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kaschana. For no one can become a yogi without renouncing, without giving up, without abandoning the sankalpa, the motive with which the action is performed. So that was the second shloka. And again in the first shloka, Sri Krishna had told us that anashrittaha karma phalam, abandoning the fruit of action, perform the work. And here Sri Krishna is telling, forget about not only abandoning fruit of action, even abandon the motive, the sankalpa with which we are performing karma. Nobody can become a yogi without abandoning, without renouncing the sankalpa, the motive. So, what is yoga? Itself is sannyasa. What is sannyasa? Itself is yoga. There is both are nothing but one and the same thing. There is no difference. There is no confusion. There is no two ways about it between the sannyasa and the yoga. Now in this third shloka, Sri Krishna is telling us how sannyasa augments yoga, how sannyasa leads us into yoga. So Sri Krishna says, Arurukshormuneryogam karma karanamauchyate yogarudhasya tasyaiva shamaha karanamuchyate. Arurukshoho is wishing to climb, wishing to attain, wishing to surpass. What? Yogaha. Wishing to attain the yoga, state of yoga. Munehe karma karanam uchyate. Munehe, the learned ones, the wise ones, the enlightened ones, they have spoken about karme karanam. Karma karanam. They have spoken about action as the cause, action as the means, karma as the means of attaining that ultimate state of yoga, that ultimate state of meditative mind, that ultimate state of contemplation. Aruruksho muner yogam karma karanam uchyate. They have spoken about karma as the means of attaining yoga. The Munis have said karma is said to be the means who seeks to attain the yoga. Yoga rudhasya tasyaiva shamaha karanam uchyate. Now in the first line of this shloka, Sri Krishna has said, what is the karana for yoga? Karma is the karana, karma is the cause, karma is the means to attain yoga. And yoga rudhasya, and one who has attained to yoga through performing karma, what he gets in return? Shamaha karanam uchyate. For him, serenity is said to be the means. Serenity, tranquility, the ultimate peace and bliss. Shamaha is the cause again for attaining that state of when he has attained to yoga. Yoga leads to attainment of that serenity, of that shamaha, of that tranquility, of that ultimate peace of mind. So karma leads to yoga. It is not avoiding the work. It is not running away from performing the work which has come to your lot. But it is performing the work wholeheartedly, dedicatedly. The work which has come to your lot, perform it thoroughly. That will lead one to attain the state of yoga. Through karma only one can attain the state of yoga. And what happens having attained the state of yoga? When he has attained to yoga, what happens? Serenity, shamaha, the tranquility, the ultimate peace and bliss. That is what the means that he attains. He is a Muni. Karma is said to be the means of the Muni, the seer, the enlightened one who seeks to attain to yoga. Not otherwise. Not by shunning the work, not by avoiding the work, not by escaping the work, not by running away from doing the work. So karma is the means to attain to yoga. And serenity is said to be the means when the yogi has attained to such yoga. The karma yogi has attained to such yoga, such state of meditation, such state of contemplativeness, when results the ultimate state of bliss, shamaha. And that is quietness. The ultimate question, the state of inaction. It is through action, karma, one attains the state of yoga. And through yoga, once attained, it is shamaha. It is tranquility. It is inaction. So action, yoga, inaction. Then comes the real state of meditation. Then comes the real stage of dhyana. Though practicing regularly, a person's mind does not easily get concentrated. All of us who have this, who get into this mode of doing daily japa and meditation, we know very well how difficult it is to control the mind. When we are active in the world, we don't realize our mind is scattered like anything. We don't realize because we are busy in doing the work. The mind gets focused on the work. It is only when we sit for doing japa. It is only when we sit for doing meditation. It is only when we sit for meditation we realize how boisterous the mind is. The mind is like an elephant then. The mind is like a wild wind. It just can't focus on the nama. It just can't focus on the mantram. It just can't focus on the chosen ideal, chosen Ishta Devata on whom one wants to meditate. It doesn't. We sit for meditation and we realize what is the nature of mind. And this mind goes. Today it is here, tomorrow, next moment it is at some other place, third moment it goes somewhere else. But it doesn't get attached to the chosen deity, to the Ishta Devata, to the mantra. So what happens? It wanders away in spite of himself. We make so much effort, and then through great difficulty, finally, for a fraction of a moment, we are able to put our mind on to the on our chosen deity, on the Ishta Devata. We are able to put our mind onto the mantra that we are reciting, that we are chanting, just for a fraction of a moment. But even that one-pointedness, for a minuscule amount of time, it gives us such bliss. Imagine when that mind, which is hovering around, which is moving around in all the places, when that mind gets fixed onto one object of your contemplation. What a great amount of bliss. And that will happen only through performing karma. In that case, the yogi ought to engage himself eagerly in karma yoga. Dedicate ourselves in performing the action, thinking about the Lord, thinking about the Divine Mother. Keep on performing the action. And that's how the mind gets focused on the chosen deity. The mind gets focused on the Ishta. The non-yogi who busies himself with the work he undertakes is rewarded by nature with sound sleep at night. You see, a farmer who toils so hard full day in his land, cultivating the crop, with all focus only on tilling the land, on cultivating the crop, how his day ends. Absolute peace, a peaceful sleep. He is not, the moment he goes home, tells his wife, go and make some good food for me, and he eats his fill, enjoys his smoke, lies down on the bed, and that's it. He is not worried what is going to happen to the world. He just enjoys his sound sleep. Now that is the case of a farmer who is not probably spiritually inclined. Now if that happens to a non-yogi, if that state of peace, if that state of the shama can reach him after that hard toil, after that hard work for the day, imagine what a yogi would attain through performing the action. Now, farmer is performing his duty with some motive, with some sankalpa, but the yogi doesn't perform the actions with any sankalpa. In spite of working with a sankalpa, if farmer can get such a beautiful sound sleep, restless, perfect restful sleep, what will be the condition of the yogi who doesn't work with the sankalpa, who has no dependence on the fruit of the action? That is the ultimate serenity, ultimate tranquility, ultimate bliss that the yogi will enjoy. The yogi is busier definitely in discharge of his duties, but with no attachment, no motives, no sankalpa. Good concentrated meditation is the reward he gets by experience, for his disinterested work. And this he learns by experience. As the crystallization of a stuffed takes place in a restful condition. So the mind gets fixed in equilibrium through meditation. Now, students of chemistry, of chemical engineering, of chemical technology would understand if we are preparing some product which needs to be crystallized, that solution, the supersaturated solution, has to be kept at ease. Don't shake, don't stir. Let that solution remain stand still at one place, and then those crystals will form. In the same way, the yogi who wants to attain the ultimate equilibrium of the mind, that ultimate yoga through meditation, he has to finally sit still, the stage that will come after performing the work. After performing the work in a selfless manner, without any motive, without seeking anything in return. Deep meditation is the yogi's personal activity in which he delights in the sublimity of the self. And then at the end of the day, like the farmer after having his wonderful dinner and having a smoke, when he sleeps peacefully, the yogi merges his self with the self and gets into that stage of deep meditation. Serenity, tranquility is the foremost of all accomplishments for a yogi. He doesn't need anything else. Me and my mother, me and my Lord, the child and mother, the devotee and the Lord, the servant and the master, that is all the yogi needs. That is all the yogi seeks, and that's what he attains. So, through karma, attain the yoga. Having attained yoga, enjoy the shamaha. That is what Sri Krishna tells us in this third shloka of the Dhyana Yoga, the sixth adhyaya of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Om Namah Shri Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Shri Ramakrishna. Jai Thakur. Jai Ma. Jai Swamiji.